Okay, so now we're ready to adjust the valves on this 3.9 Cummins. First adjustment you want to do when you do get the head torque down and all the rocker arms on there, the rocker arm assemblies on there. Your first adjustment before you do anything is right here. You're going to want to, you were supposed to loosen these up before you install them all the way. Now you're going to adjust these till they hit the ball socket. Then you're going to back them off one full turn. You're going to want to do that with all of them. I've already done it. Next step, you need to find top dead center on the compression stroke. Now I showed you in the last video, there is a timing pin on the side of the motor that will engage when you are on, it'll engage into the gear of the camshaft when you are on the top dead center of the compression stroke. You can't do this on the exhaust stroke. That's the next step. First step is you got to have top dead center on the compression stroke. The timing pin on this motor was broken. I showed you that in the last video. So I had to take it off and visually look for the hole in the gear. I've got a new timing pin ordered that'll go in before the motor gets fired up. But that's how I found top dead center on the compression stroke. So once you get your motor on top dead center on the compression stroke, now you can adjust some of these rockers. You can adjust the intake and exhaust on number 1. You can adjust the intake on number 2, and you can adjust the exhaust on number 3. Next step, after we adjust these, you can adjust the rest of them. But these are the ones you can adjust right now. And how you do that is intake is 10 thousandths of an inch clearance. I guess, I don't know if you can see that one. Let's go with the exhaust. The exhaust is 20 thousandths of an inch. For the clearance on the rocker arm to the valve stem here. Okay, so basically you got your feeler gauge. You're going to stick it in here on the valve stem where it hits the valve stem there. You're going to turn this. Make sure your nut is backed up so you got enough where you can adjust this. So when you have this adjusted right, the feeler gauge is supposed to slide in here, but you're supposed to feel some resistance as you're sliding it in. So I'm going to tighten it down there. You're going to need a screwdriver to actually hold that in place. And then you're going to need some sort of a wrench to actually tighten this up. Now I just did that, and I've got to redo it because somehow it loosened up a little bit. Okay, now I got it too tight. Okay, now I can put the feeler gauge in there, but I'm feeling some resistance on the feeler gauge. That's where we want to be. Now I'm going to do the intake same way as I did the exhaust here, only I need my 10 thousandths of an inch feeler gauge. A little loose. Still a little loose there. Now I got it too tight. And there we go. It goes in there. A little bit of resistance on my feeler gauge. That's what you want. Now I'm not going to film this whole process, but I'm going to do the intake on number 2 and the exhaust on number 3. Then I'll come back and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got the valves adjusted that I can adjust with the engine on top dead center on the compression stroke. Now I need to turn the motor over to, I guess they say top dead center plus 360 degrees, which is basically one rotation of the crankshaft. So what I've done here is, you can see those marks there. I got 3 marks, but the last mark is the mark I'm going by. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wrench here, and I'm going to use the pulley there, and I'm going to turn the motor over. I'm going to rotate it 360 degrees, that pulley. That'll give me one stroke with the crankshaft. And that will give me top dead center of the exhaust stroke on number 1 cylinder, which will allow me to adjust the rest of the rocker arms. So I'm going to get this motor turned over 360 degrees. It's going to turn a lot harder now with the head on there and everything. So I'm going to get this turned over and we'll start adjusting the rest of the valves. Okay, we got the engine rotated, or the crankshaft rotated 360 degrees. We're now ready to adjust on number 4. We can adjust intake and exhaust. Number 3, we can adjust intake, and then number 2, we can adjust the exhaust. You can see it is way off. So again, what I'm going to do, take my feeler gauge, we're going to stick it under there, we're going to adjust these, and I'll be back with you. Okay, valves are all adjusted, should be where they need to be. It's really not that bad of a job once you get in a rhythm and you know the clearance you're going with for each one, and it kind of becomes a natural deal. So it's not that bad. I believe now I'm going to throw the valve covers on here just to keep something from falling down in there. I'm not sure exactly what needs to go on next, if it's the fuel lines or if I can drop that aftercooler on there. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. These valve covers got new gaskets for them. They just go on there. You gotta push them on. There's a groove. Also got new O-rings for the bolts for the valve covers. They're in the center there. They got a stop so you can't over tighten them. So I'm gonna get the gasket on this one here, and then I'm gonna drop the valve covers on. Okay, so I'm getting ready to install the aftercooler right here. One thing to note here, when I cleaned this out, there was some type of white sealer all along here, and as I cleaned up the deal and the parts washer, pretty much all that came out, and it's open through here. Everywhere it's not welded, it's open. So if you don't plug that up, you're gonna lose boost. So I'm using a copper, ultra copper here, gasket maker to seal that up. I'm not sure exactly what I should have used, if this will work or what, but it's about the only thing I can find that'll handle the temperatures of a turbo charged motor. So also using the copper under the gasket. This is specifically made for high temperature. So I mean, they're using 190 degree water coolant to cool off the boosted air. So I mean, that could be 300, 400, 500 degrees. I'm not sure what the temperature is to that boost, but I'm sure it's pretty high. So I'm going to use this copper stuff. Hopefully this holds. This might be, seems like we lost power at some point with this tractor. And if we lost all our boost because of this gasket right here, or this sealant failed, I can see how we could have lost a bunch of power. So I guess we'll see when we fire it up if it has more power or not. But that was definitely, the seal definitely failed here. So I'm going to install this. You're supposed to put sealant on the threads of the bolts that go in there too. So I'm going to use the same copper material, copper gasket, and I'm going to bolt this down. Okay, so the aftercooler is bolted down. You can see 18 foot-pounds for that. Another thing is I got my fuel lines in. You can see they are installed. That went on after the aftercooler went on. I did have to loosen this hose up and pull it out to be able to slide my fuel lines down through here. And you really can't torque this bolt here and that bolt there with the fuel line there. So I'm just going to have to tighten it up as good as I can. See, the fuel line there goes to the injection pump right there. There's 4 lines, 4 cylinders. We never took them apart, so they went on exactly where they came out. There was no mixing them up because they're only so long. So you know, if you took them all apart and busted them all down, it might be a little more difficult. But they all go in different places. So eventually you should be able to figure it out. We never took these off, so they stayed together. I think that's the easier way to take them out. There's the 4 lines that go to the injection pump. You got a feed line from the pump that's actually coming from the tank. and then it goes through the filters there, comes out here, and then goes into the injection pump. I made sure I cleaned them lines out really good. I blew them out, cleaned out around each one of the deals. I cleaned them up, make sure there was no dirt, because you can ruin your injection system with just a very small amount of dirt or water. So I tried to be as clean as I could with these fuel line. So I guess with that being done, I believe I'm ready for the exhaust manifold, and that is actually one piece. We never did bust this down, so it's got the turbo and everything on it. So I'm gonna see, I just found new bolts here. They're 10 millimeter, and I'm gonna see if I can't put this up here myself. I'm not sure. I don't think it's too heavy. We'll see. Okay, so I got the exhaust manifold on, and like I said, we never took the turbo off the manifold. We just figured it would be more trouble trying to take these bolts off than it was worth. So we just left everything together, so we ain't got to do nothing there. I put in the coolant hose that goes to the aftercooler. That runs down back into here. I haven't tightened these down. My computer battery died. I don't know what the torque spec is. I'll torque them down tomorrow. I just snug them up, and again, used copper anti-seize. This is high temperature anti-seize in the threads there. I believe that's it. I'm gonna put my aftercooler, I don't know what they would call that, but it's an adapter here that goes from this to the round intake of the turbo. I gotta put that on. They didn't send a new gasket in my gasket kit for this, so I'm gonna have to use the old gasket. Luckily, I think it's in good enough shape. I think we'll be okay. I gotta get that on, and gotta get my oil feed line and my oil return line on the turbo. I've got to get my thermostat in there, upper radiator hose. Then you got my fan, air conditioner, alternator, just kind of miscellaneous things. I believe that's it. Once I get all them done, I think there's a few wires here that got to be plugged in. This is the temperature, I believe. This goes to the alternator, and I think after that we'll be ready to go. Oh, air cleaner I took off. I had to weld the deal because it broke off. The little stack that holds the big air cleaner thing broke off, so I welded that, threw some paint on it. It's got to slide back in there. It slides in here, and it's clamped down with these clamps here. So, and then the hood, obviously, and then the muffler goes onto this. Getting close, getting really, really close here. Then you got the oil filter here. We're going to put the oil pressure gauge. We're going to make sure we got oil pressure and stuff before it fires up. And then this is I believe that's the feed line for the turbo. It goes there. It's a stainless braided hose. So I'm going to probably just finish up the install. I won't be videoing the rest of it. Basically because if you have a 3.9 Cummins, I think they have all kinds of different ways they route stuff depending on what options and stuff you had. If it was after cooled or if it was in a lot of these, I think we're putting like bread trucks and little industrial vehicles and stuff. This is a versatile, I believe it's a 84 or 86, 276 versatile. But I'm just gonna probably finish it up and show you guys what we got. Oh yeah, we got to hook up the throttle on this side. This has got the throttle like that. It bolts on, 2 bolts on the head there. And then the air conditioner lines are right here. There's another one right there. And yeah, we'll be good to go. Okay guys, a busy day today. I've got everything buttoned up, I believe. Down to the belt, the alternator, air conditioner on the other side, oil filter there, all the wiring done, turbo, muffler, air intake, filters, upper radiator hose, thermostat in the housing, new bolts on the manifold, torque them, 32 foot-pounds is the torque on them. And again, you want to start in the middle and then do the outside ones, just like the head. So the only thing left to do here is fuel filters, antifreeze, and oil. And we are ready to see if she's going to fire up and what she's going to sound like. So I'm going to start dropping the fluids in. We've got an oil pressure gauge on here, so we make sure we got good oil pressure. So like I said, I'm going to finish putting my fluids in here, and we'll be trying to fire this thing up shortly. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention before you put your air intake on, you want to pull this hose off, the oil feed for the turbo. You want to put about 4 or 5 ounces of oil, fresh clean oil in that. You want to spin the turbo while you're doing that to get the oil inside the bearings in that turbo before you fire it up. You don't want to start that out dry. Okay, so I'm ready to fire this thing up, except for batteries. Got to drop the batteries in. I filled up, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I filled up the oil filter with oil before I installed it. And I'm waiting for Dad for diesel fuel, because I'm going to fill these 2 filters up with diesel fuel. So once we get that done, we're going to do some cranking here. Okay, a little tip when you're bleeding the cooling system. There's a deal right there. I believe that's for bleeding the air out of the cooling system. I took that out, filled it up until the coolant ran out of that, and closed it back up, and then finished filling up the radiator. So most of the air should be out of the system already. It's kind of like my Duramax. They had a bolt that you took out and let the air out. It works so much better doing it that way. So like I said, batteries, fuel filters, and we're ready to start cranking.
Pancake. Huh? Pancake. Huh? You like the beer transfer to take off. I hope not. Routine no oil pressure. Do it again.
How about the pump thing? feel pressure on it now?
Let me see. No.
Let me crank it a little more.
No.
I'm not gonna crank it, you squeeze it.
No.
Battery's going good.
Yeah, why is that?
Why, that's what it's supposed to do.
Man, they can't be. How long did you charge them?
Is it no oil pressure?
That was, I think it was starting to come off. Holy shit.
Why did that fire up?
I don't know. That's okay. You got oil pressure. Let her on. underneath this might be.
No, I spilled that.
Oh, okay.
I spilled it, I believe. I spilled it. Unless this hose ain't no good. There is water running down right there. Okay, so you heard it fire up. Fired it up last night. Sounds pretty good. We just warmed it up. Actually, the temperature gauge it wasn't working in the cab. I gotta try to rework that wire or something. Try to figure out what's wrong there. But we got it up to temperature, and then I shut it off. This morning I drained the oil out, changed the oil filter, just to kind of flush out some of the contaminants that might be in the motor yet. We're gonna run it. Gonna run it some more, maybe put an hour of run time, and we're gonna flush it again. Drop the oil out, put a new filter on. Depending on what that looks like, we're gonna look at that oil, and if it's relatively clean, we'll probably just leave it at that. But if it's still got stuff in it, we might do another one. But for sure, we're gonna do two. Yeah, she fired right up. Actually faster than I thought she would. I thought we were gonna have to mess with the fuel to try to bleed that, but she fired right up. She's pretty shocked when it did fire up. We had oil pressure too before it fired up, so we got good oil pressure according to that gauge. We found two leaks. Two hydraulic leaks. Because this thing's been sitting so long, it's everything dried up, and I put hydraulic fluid in it before we fired it up, and we found two of our major leaks. So we're gonna fix those before we take it out for the last time. So we should have a tractor that doesn't leak quite so much. So, I don't know what else to say, but we need to put the hood on, and I got the side skirts that gotta go on, but pretty happy. We won't really know what we got until we run it here. It needs a new shift cable for the gear shift. We'll probably get one of those shortly. But yeah, pretty happy so far. We'll run it, see what happens, and see how much longer we can keep working this tractor. We will see, I guess. We figure about $800–900 in parts to do this. So not all the parts were factory Cummins. We did get a cheap rebuild kit, but I explained in our first videos why we did that. We didn't want to spend a bunch of money on this tractor because it's old. It's old and it's got some problems, so we're just trying to get more time out of it. Maybe turn it into a backup or a forklift or something. So I guess that's it, guys. I might do another fire up for you, and I'll see you in the next one, I guess.